Hey, this is the World Advice Channel too. What I want to talk about today is the question of why do some Latinos hate Black people so much? So when it comes to what the point of this video is, it is supposed to give us Black people an idea of what we can do to help resolve this issue for that matter, in order to, of course, make sure that this issue can be resolved, especially with the huge amount of Latinos as well as African Americans in America. It wouldn't make sense to you know, have a conflict, because that would can result in a massive issues and so on and so forth. So as a result of that, that is why I'm discussing this video, so we can figure out ways to resolve this issue. Okay, so now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to a topic of why do some Latinos hate Black people so much, the main reason why some Latinos hate Black people so much, from what I've heard from their side, is that a lot of Black people start shit with them. So when it comes to this particular topic, I just want to make it clear I am not referring to the majority of African Americans, okay? But what I'm referring to is a small subset of Black people, um, whether it could be in mainstream society or Black people living in a hood, who are notorious for starting shit with people for no reason, okay? And that is exactly, when it comes to this particular situation, what I believe actually has caused it and made it as bad as it is. Now, even though a lot of the other things, of course, to put it bluntly, some of the excuses, the reasons why they say is, oh, Black people are lazy, or Black people are too loud, or or Black people, are just kind of always acting up, always acting eccentric and so on and so forth because they want attention. Those are BS arguments, as anyone who uses their head would know. And obviously, that's very disrespectful and has nothing to do with the situation. I'm not going to even acknowledge those points those stupid people make. What I'm acknowledging is a point that actually legitimately can come off as a legitimate point to, when it comes to having a grievance against, at least when it comes to having a grievance, if anything, against us for that matter, okay? So that's what I'm getting at here. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to this particular situation related to that small portion of Black people, okay, is that the reason why some Latinos hate us so passionately is because of that small portion of Black people. And the reason why they hate us, hate them, they hate those people, and of course, translated into hating so many of us for that matter, is because those Black people who start shit with Latinos, from what I have heard, are really good at pissing people off, okay? Because the reason why the Latinos, from what I'm aware, the percentage of Latinos who kind of do that shit, who are the racist street gang members, so on and so forth, and stuff, the reason why they feel that way is simply down to the fact of the matter that that a lot of them have a way uh, uh way of just bringing out the worst in people. Okay, even though, yes, I know people are going to say, of course, in every community you're going to have people who are bullies and like to put people down and so on and so forth. We cannot hold everyone accountable, but and that is true. But the problem with that small percentage of Black people who kind of start shit with Latinos, from what I have heard, is that they just are some of the most unbearable people, because not only do they sometimes start shit with people and just start fights for no reason, always make fun of like Mexicans, call them like little Eduardo, little Rico. It's talking about, how short they are and making fun of it, and just in general, just being straight up disrespectful to a lot of Mexicans for that matter. Okay, okay? A lot of them are very disrespectful, and a lot of them actually generally start shit. And the thing is that when you fight back against them, or I should say, the Latinos fight back against them, a lot of those same Black people get, not only lose the fight and so on and so forth. That small percentage of Black people, not the majority of us, act that way. They lose the fight and they run away. They then run off and complain that, oh, that person's racist or this and that, or maybe, for example, they were making fun of that person for being Hispanic, calling them like an alien and this and that, or and that maybe that Hispanic person kind of had got fed up, not justifiable, what this Hispanic person does, but it's still a good point of why you don't start shit with people. Like, that Hispanic person might make fun of him for being black and saying you're the N word and this and that with the hard R, if anything. And then, of course, the black guy runs off, or black girl, whatever, runs off and complains that a person is a racist when that black person was actually calling that Latino person, derogatory Latino names like wetback and all that sort of stuff for that matter, okay? And just making fun of their heritage, okay? So that is the truth of the matter when it comes to the question of why some of them hate us so passionately with not just a passion, but a divine passion. Because a lot of black people, and it's not the majority of us, but some do in all honesty, just have a way of just starting shit with people for no reason. Besides, I live up here in Canada as well, and I remember from what I heard, there used to be this beef between black people and Indians up here. Okay. And I was, of course, like anyone you assume, it was probably the Indians who started it. But I actually realized as I grew, from what I heard, that a lot of black people actually started that whole beef because I used to make fun of Indian people for smelling bad and this and that. I used to pick on them all the time, which of course then later developed into intense hatred. So that's exactly the truth of the matter, okay? And that's what learning to take accountability comes in a mix, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, us black people, we already have enough haters as it is, okay? We already have enough haters in all honesty. And what we need to realize is that some people in our community are just bad, and they just like to go around starting fights with people for no reason. And then when you do anything to them, even if you didn't say anything racist, they then run off and claim, oh, you're a racist and this and that, you shouldn't have done that and this and that. And that's stuff like that is some bitch ass behavior. And that's why some people hate us so friggin' passionately. It's not even like bad. It's just divinely bad. They just hate us so much. And that's the truth of the matter. What us black people need to do is that we need to realize that we can't just live life everywhere we go, getting in fights and arguments with people. We can't just go everywhere you know, and say, oh, these people are racist and that person's racist and this and that. Because the truth of the matter is sometimes the racism that comes from that group of people is because of that small percentage of black people just go around causing problems. So what we need to do is start taking accountability, and calling out the black people who do this shit and cause these problems instead of just saying, oh, you guys are racist and this and that. And that's exactly the truth of the matter. And that's what the taking accountability is. Okay? Because I'm actually hearing a lot of stories about that type of behavior from the black community, okay? I hear a lot of stories about blacks just going around starting fights for no freaking reason and just picking on people and it being racially motivated, and let alone just picking fights with people, which is never a good idea in the first place. Even if someone might come off as soft, it still doesn't mean that they're not going to retaliate, and you don't know what they might do, in all honesty, for that matter, okay? So the truth of the matter is, never start fights with anyone in a matter, especially if it's unprovoked, especially if it's in a bad neighborhood where there's not good law enforcement in the first place. So, that's the truth of the matter, okay? But even still, they just go around starting fights and stuff, and it's just not good for our community. Like, we can't live our lives like this everywhere we go as black people. We can't live our lives everywhere we go. Oh, everyone hates us, and just think it's everyone else's fault but ours. Because some people in our community just start shit for no reason. Even being from my own experiences, I've dealt with some bullshit from some black people for no reason. Even when you look at African Americans, and I'm not saying all African Americans, and especially not the majority of them are like this, but a lot of them used to start shit with Haitians and they used to start shit with Jamaicans. They used to talk shit about this group of people and this and that. And just in general as a whole, for us black people, we need to stop this bullshit. Not even just for African Americans, but just everywhere for that matter. We can't go everywhere and just start fights and arguments and shit with people for no reason, or at least have that small percentage cause that problem. And then later on get angry when those people from the opposing side get angry at us. We can't live our lives like this anymore. Well, in honesty, like this is not living. This is not like life, how life should be. And that's where learning it, like I was saying before, taking accountability and holding up those black people who do that stuff accountable. And if it means we call them out on it, and maybe even if anything, see what we can do to get them in trouble. That is what we have to do, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, from what I've seen, Latinos have been actually quite pleasant historically, from what I have seen. Yes, of course, with racism, of course, a Mexico in that past used to do racist shit, but there's a difference between obviously like Mexicans directly from Mexico and Mexican Americans, of course, who are born in America. Okay. Besides, a lot of Latinos like our music. They like our culture. So why do so many of them hate us so passionately at the same time? And that's what I'm trying to say. Because not everywhere you go in the world is the same freaking black and white story. Besides, in the South, it's definitely 100% a black and white story. No pun intended. We all know who the ones who started that one is, the white Southerners. But this is not the white Southerners. In this case, I actually think it's actually a lot of it is actually our own people, and that's what taking accountability is, and that's the truth of the matter. So anyway, this is my video. All I have to say is that I hope you liked it. If you like this video, if you thumbs this video up and hit subscribe button, and this is all I have to say. Simply put, I'm out. Bye.